it is always said that we're assuming that they're doing all these things. They're giving alms, they're praying, they're fasting, everything a good Jew should do. So that's not in question at all. It's where their hearts are. Where their hearts are. There are a lot of people here, I'm surprised, that work behind the scenes. And it almost sounds like that's kind of what Jesus is getting at. Yeah, working the quiet behind the scenes, not being showy, not being, it's all about me, and not putting yourself out there and having banners about yourself by doing these great things, but it's the quiet things behind the scenes. Act in all humility. Now, what I can't understand is when I hear they have preaching classes, they have preaching for pastors once a year. I haven't gone yet. It's called something or another, Festival of Homiletics, right, preaching. And they always say that, here's going to be Will Willimon, one of the best preachers in the country. Huh? How does that work? How do they rate any of these preachers? How do they know he's one of the best in the country? Have they tested every single preacher in the whole country to see who the best is? Have they had like a American Idol for pastors that they go up, they can do their preaching and they get down up, and the people can call in and vote? I don't get that. It sounds so countercultural to what he's saying here. And how many lives do they touch? How many lives is that pastor who's got 20 people in some small church in the middle of nowhere, rural, he may have fire in his belly, and they may be moved by the Spirit, by his simple words. How do you test that kind of thing? And I think I had one when I was selling organs, when I was working for an organ company, one guy was saying, I can't understand when they talk about, they had this great harp competition. He said, do you take the harp and whoever can throw it the furthest? Is that how they win those competitions? Is that what that means? And so you take your sermons and throw your sermons and see how far they go? But it's part of this dust, okay? Now bear with me, dust. We're talking about dust, ashes to ashes, and this is Ash Wednesday to remind us that we are dust, that there is something in the soil that we're part of. And the word for humility is humus, that word root, humus, humus. Not hummus, not the thing you eat, the humus, the stuff you throw in your garden, the organic stuff that makes plants grow. Humility, the earthiness, the being down to earth, and not thinking too highly of yourselves. I wonder, when you're thinking about this, and you're thinking not too highly of yourselves, most of us will pray in private. We will give without any kind of attention given to us. I try to get the quilters up here every year. They refuse to stand. They're just going to sit in their pews. I have accepted that. After the first year, I'm not going to bring the quilters up because they like to work behind the scenes. They have their Mondays, and they do wonderful work, but they don't want to be recognized by everybody. They know who they are and what they're doing. I wonder, as far as Christians, we give and give quietly a lot of times. And so how do people see our faith? How do we witness that faith if we're so quiet about it? They can see us, and maybe they'll ask questions, and they'll get a glimpse of who we are by what we do and ask about it. But doesn't it seem like oftentimes the people in the news are the people that are way out of who knows what, professing a faith that doesn't even come close to the faith, and they're the Christians. I think that's not the way I am, and that's not how I view as being a person of my faith. I'm quiet about what I do. And so it further makes me think about other people and what their faith is like too. I mean, maybe they work behind the scenes too, and just as we are, but sometimes the news captures just the crackpots, the real out of there people, and say that is that religious group, or this is the Christian group, when all in fact that if we all kind of have this thing about working behind the scenes and helping each other in kind of quiet ways, maybe Lent is not about giving up sugar or pizza, although those things should be watched, But maybe we should give up some of our preconceived ideas that we have about people different than ourselves. Maybe we should give up judging people until we really get to know them, and even so, who are we to judge? Giving up this sense of, I am here to look at you and to put my judgment on you. The lesson we read for the council about Paul and Luke wandering the wilderness, and they finally meet up with women at the shore, and they're talking to them, and Lydia is one of the people, and they say that, she was a woman of God. And it makes me think, was anybody there before Paul to give the message? Or was the message received by other ways? The preconceived idea that unless I go to somewhere else, they're not going to hear about God. Maybe we need to get rid of that. Maybe I need to think about things differently. Maybe the people that look different than me are just like me. Maybe the people who profess a different faith are just like me. Or whatever. Lent is about the earthiness, the ground that we all walk on, the ground that we're all made up of, essentially, in our cells and our chromosomes and all those kinds of things. There's a commonality there. Maybe go back to our roots and think about leveling the playing field and dropping some of these judgments we have or preconceived ideas we have. Maybe that's a start. Maybe if we build relationships, instead of looking out the window, maybe that would be a start. However that works, to learn about other people, how similar they really are to us, and what slight differences make them a little bit a variety for us all, to look at the world differently. Covered pizza, sugar. The loving your neighbors. When you put it that way, it makes it broader, in a broader sense. Not only the neighbor next door to you, but maybe the neighborhood. Or maybe even broader than that. I still have a lot to learn about my faith and people and how things work. But I pray and I ask God to give me the strength and the wisdom to continue going out and learning. And learning about who I am as God's child of the faith. What I have to give and what we all have to give and contribute. Extending our own boundaries and looking past our own walls, our own ideas about things and people. To grow. And when you fast, don't put on sad faces like the hypocrites. We're all in this together. We'll put sad faces on, but some ways we're all sad. We're all together in this. We're all in this together. And where God is in us. And God is solid. He's the solid ground, the ground of all being, as some people put it, that continues to love us, even if we're dust. Even if we're humus, even if we judge, even if we have preconceived ideas, it's not too big for what God can handle in us and to give us freedom and love and in the sense of sometimes risk to endure, to see outside of ourselves. So the Father who sees us in secret and not in secret as well. Amen.